You are watching Channel Adrian TV.
Yo, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X, wherever you're watching this, what up? Welcome to another video reaction. I just want to say first, I appreciate all the support I've been getting on the relationship videos, the police body cam videos, the sneaker reviews. But with all that said, y'all do know I'm into sports. I'm a sports fanatic. I still hoop, still to this day, watch a lot of football. So you get sports is still a big part of my life. And one thing I do like to hear is when the older NBA players from the 80s, when you hear Magic, Bird, Isaiah, even Dominique Wilkins talk about how competitive it was in the 80s, because if you think about it, the 80s really started what the NBA is now. So Dominique Wilkins is on the Up in Smoke podcast talking to Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson about how it was competing in the 80s and also going against Larry Bird and all the other Hall of Famers in the 80s. Let's get into the video.
What about Larry?
That's another guy. Larry and I, we played against each other like 12, 13 years. We never shook hands, never spoke.
Really?
Never. I mean, as a great player back then, you didn't want another great player to get that close to you.
Yeah.
And I get that because even when I was competing, of course, I didn't make it to the pros or anything, but even when I'm competing against you, or when I used to play sports like that, I wouldn't want to hang with you. I'll probably give you a little dap if you reach to me first, but I think Larry Bird coined this term. He said he couldn't have a love fest, and that's how I am. If I'm competing against you, I really can't have no love fest or try to, give you props because I'm competing against you. Now, afterwards, after I win, I have no problem talking to you. So I understand that mindset.
But none of us liked each other, never spoke. I didn't speak to him for 13 years straight.
I love Larry even more hearing that.
Hey, another guy,
Because he was
you
a
don't
dog.
have any idea how good he was if you hadn't played against him.
And the shit talking too, right?
Hey, listen, first time I played against him, I'm a rookie. I'm glad to be in the league. I'm in the Boston Garden, and I'm guarding him, right? First play of the game, he said, I don't know why you got you guarding me, Holmes. I was like, huh? He shoots a three. And I wasn't mad he made the three. I said, but this some bitch called me Holmes. And so the next play, I'm pissed. So he comes out, he shifts to his right, and I jump. I said, got him. And I'm pumping it by my hand, and I banged it on him, right? And he on the ground, he fouled me, and I'm pointing. And he said, hey, Rook. I'm like, what? He said, I like you. You got balls. He said, I'm still getting 30 on your ass tonight. He got about 37. Yeah. But I wasn't mad because I'm paying my dues. That's Larry, you know?
Right, yeah.
But that was the only time he ever talked trash to me.
He respected you to back down.
He knew I was going to keep coming.
I wish we had as much cameras and social media access we have today. I wish we had it during that time to be able to see that trash talking up close and personal, because there are a few YouTubers and one YouTuber that's gotten popular about showing us the trash talking NBA players are saying. But back in the 80s, it was a little bit more realness to it because like Dominique said, they weren't really hanging out. They weren't really friends like that, how it is now. And y'all, this isn't an old head saying back in my day, people weren't friends. I'm not saying that. I'm just calling it what he said. And Dominique just said it. They didn't talk for 13 years because they were competing against each other.
He and I, again, never talked until we retired. And he had an interview and they was talking about trash talking. And he said, I never said things to offend anybody. He said, you take Dominique. And he said, I said some things to Nick and he would just smile at me. Mm-hmm. But he understood what that smile was about. Yeah. He said, he just came to play. He said, I had more respect for him than any player I ever played against. I never knew he felt that way. Wow. And that was a major, major respect. That was one of the few times he's ever said anything to me. Now, today, we're friends. Yeah. Because we're not competitors anymore. Yeah. And so I've always, when you talk about Larry, I give him the utmost respect because of who he was to play again. And I'm talking about guys that if you haven't played against them,
you got no idea.
You have no idea because they take your heart.
6'9".
You think you tough? They take your heart. He's 6'10".
6'10". With
playing
a skill
small
set.
forward.
What's his skill? Talk to us about his skill set.
His skill set, first of all, he had a basketball IQ off the chart. Yeah. His skill set, he had very few weaknesses, and he can beat you in anyway, be the passing, scoring, rebounding. He just knew how to play. Very smart player. And it's not a lot of guys that had that type of basketball IQ along with skill that beat you like that. And so when I played against him, I had to bring my A game every night. And when we played in one of the greatest games, in the 7th game in Boston Garden, where he guaranteed a win, because we blew our opportunity in Atlanta to beat them, to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And so the article came out, right? This is another crazy thing, man. So he said, Atlanta blew their opportunity. I'm guaranteeing a win next game. So we come out of the locker room in Boston. So I stopped in the hallway. I said, look, we're going to win this goddamn game. I said, if you ain't ready to fight, you ain't ready to go to war, don't come out here. I said, whoever guard me, ain't going to have a long fucking night. Unfortunately, he was telling his teammates the same thing down the other. And
but see, just Dominique just going into that story in detail, Bird being as braggadocious as he was, saying it to the paper. There was no social media, but people were reading the paper. I can remember when newspapers were a big thing. That's how old I am. So him saying that, you know, tempers were flaring, and you can only imagine the energy in that stadium when they went to go play the Celtics. And it's when I hear stories like that of being a sports fan or sports fanatic, if you will, it what makes me fall in love with sports, because you could take a lot from it. And I'm one of those people, I don't downgrade the greats. I do think if they're a great or all-time Hall of Famer, if they were in that certain time, like say if you put Larry and Dominique and Michael in today's time, they would still be good because of today's technology and training and stuff like that. I'm one of those people that Hall of Famer and greats, I do consider them to be able to play in every generation, because that's why they're Hall of Famers. They would have figured it out.
Game was pretty close, and I went out for blow in the third quarter. Larry only had 12 points in the third quarter. And I remember Kevin Willis reaching across me and pointing at Larry, but he said, don't let this son bitch score anymore tonight. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't awake a sleeping giant. Well, he ended up with 34 that night. He had 20 in the fourth quarter. We had that famous shootout between us. He and I that fourth quarter. And I tell you today, I'd be mad. I'm mad at Kevin. I said, Kevin, man, why you just didn't sit? Don't say anything. Leave him alone. But it was guys like that. And he's one of the guys of many in the league in that era took things personal. If you said something that wasn't, they didn't say nothing to you, but they showed it to you on the court.
That's why, even still to this day when I hoop, I don't ever talk trash, because there's some people who they need that trash talk to make them play better. For example, think of Tim Duncan. When Tim Duncan talks about KG, he said he will purposely just ignore KG because he knows if you engage with him, he's going to play harder, he's going to elevate his play. In other words, some people need raised to play. And that's one of the reasons why I never talk trash. I just keep to myself. And honestly, the only trash talk I would ever do is I'll probably ignore you. Like, I'll just walk by you, stuff like that. I won't say what's up to you. Stuff along those lines, playing those mind games. But I would never really talk trash or call somebody out their name.
Well, I love playing with guys like that and against guys like that.
I mean, obviously you didn't get to play them much because in the Western Conference, but Magic.
I played against him a lot. And when he talk about point guards, greatest point guards ever, okay, what is your real definition of that?
Magic Johnson,
to me, the greatest point guard ever, because of what he did and first of all, in the conference, in that Western Conference, they had some monsters out there, and they dominated them. And Magic Johnson brought a different level of basketball to LA.
Yeah,
that they had never seen.
And I know during that time, you could honestly say Magic was like a LeBron type archetype as far as his freakish athleticism. Him being 6'9", being a point guard, being able to run a fast break.
It was that Showtime Lakers. That's all Magic. I mean, Magic, man. Hey, Magic, I'm going to tell you what, Magic's funny. And very strategic. I can say this because I'm an old man now, I'm married and all that good stuff. So, tell you what he did my rookie year. So, we check in the hotel, and I've been in my room about 30 seconds. Man, I had my bag, so, didn't need anybody to bring my bag. So, when I hear a knock at the door, and I look at the people, it's a tall lady with brown hair, green eye. I'm like, who the hell is this at our door, right? So open the door, right? And she said, compliments from Mervyn Magic Johnson. Scared the hell out of me. I said, no.
You didn't let her in?
No, sir.
Oh, you should have sent her to Jack's room.
Magic, you were sending girls? Allegedly, y'all, because I'm going by what Neek said. That's crazy.
Cause I know I'm scared. But I knew what he was doing.
Right. Compliments to Irvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Green eyes, too.
Man.
I don't know.
Magic was, man, he was funny. But, you know, Magic kind of helped discover me when I came out of college. Even though I was third overall pick, I traveled with them in the summer before I even played a single game. So I played with all the best players in the summer. Magic, Moses, Bird, Dr. J.
Where would you guys do that at?
We would travel all over the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were like
summer league pickup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I came to the league, I was like,
See, back then I knew they were playing, but I didn't know they were going. Dang, that's crazy. And I know they don't got the transportation we got today. I wonder, well, I don't know, Magic and them, they had bread back then. I don't know if they was taking planes, but playing cross country like that, traveling, playing basketball will pick up. Yeah, that's crazy. I wish we could see some footage from those actual games or pickup games.
it's easy. I already play with the best players, you know. And then later we got Jordan who came in. He would play with us, and you know, it was just so many guys. Karl Malone, Stockton, everybody was playing, you know. And I ain't talking about just running down. I'm talking about going at
hooping,
it. You know, we were hooping. But that's what made the game fun, man. You know. So hey, I was really, you know, privileged to play against guys like that.
You on record saying that the 80s was the 80s Eastern Conference was the best conference ever. 80s Eastern Conference against the 2000 West Conference. How that's gonna look?
The 80s Eastern Conference
against the 2000 Western Conference.
Well, that's a tough one, boy.
That West had the big boys.
Me personally, I would pick the West just because of Shaq. I don't see how you slow him down.
Boy, they had some
Tim
big
Duncan,
boys.
Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, Shaq.
They had some big boys.
KG, Dirk Nowitzki.
They had some big boys.
Kobe, they had
that would be a great matchup. That would be a great matchup.
Yeah, I think y'all had more guards. They had more bigs.
We had a lot of guards, but we had some forwards though, boy.
Yeah.
We had some forwards. Yeah.
Y'all ain't have Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Rasheed Wallace, none of this.
We didn't care. We didn't care about none of that.
I know.
We didn't care about none of that. But anyway, you know, you talking about Dr. J, myself, Bird. You know,
Dr. J always
Bernardking. Man, let me tell you something. Nobody ever talked about this guy. Nobody ever talked
to us.
I never feared anybody I've ever played against. That's the only man that ever scared the hell out of me.
Bernard King.
Tell us why, though. Tell us why.
Know why? Because he's getting 40, ain't shit you can do about it.
And he can score every
Ain't nothing you can do about it. He was the only guy I couldn't sleep the night before I had to play against him. Because he's getting 40.
He said he can score anywhere.
And so Coach, you said, when you guard Bernard, meet him at half court. I'm like, I'm not meeting him at half court. But I found very quickly what he meant.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't meet him at half court, you were like this. He was gone.
Yeah.
I remember when I played against him, it was one game, and like I said, I just couldn't sleep. So I said, I know he gonna get 40. I said, so I'm gonna get 40, and we just call it watch, because I ain't killed myself trying to chase this guy. Because you can't stop him. So when we went in the Hall of Fame, he asked me what I introduced him. I like, me? You never spoke to me. We had no type of friendship. But I was privileged, I was honored because that's BK.
Yeah.
And I said, before we go up the steps, man, and be honest, I said, man, I ain't never feared anybody. I said, you the only guy who scared the shit out of me. And he's laughing. I said, man, why you laughing? He said, because you scared the shit out of me too. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, my chest got big after you said that, right? But it just shows you that none of those guys let you get that close to them when we was competitors, man. And that's what made the game more fun, and it made you compete even harder.
And for those of you who don't understand that, it's because some people, I'll put it this way. Say if you're a business owner, who are you going to be more straightforward and actually go to the proper protocol? In other words, hold someone to a standard. Someone that you know and love like your friend, or someone that you just work with and, you know, a complete stranger other than your job. Of course, you'll be willing to do whatever you need to do discipline-wise to the person you don't know. But if it's your friend or someone you know, or maybe a family member, you may cut corners. You may not be strict when you need to against them. And that kind of goes with the competition. If you're too close, for some people, they really can't compete as hard or go to the limits they need to go because they're too friendly. And that's what he's saying, because like I said earlier, for me, if I'm competing against you, I can't have like a love fest. And to be honest, I could flip the switch to where you may think I don't even like you at all because of how cutthroat I am when it comes to competition.
Because you never knew what was going on in his head. You knew he was going to come at you, and you had to guard that guy too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to guard the power forward because they had a license to kick your ass. I'm not playing his position. So, you know, we had enough problem at that small forward position, and we had a lot of them. And another guy, you talk about Mark Aguirre.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Big draws, man.
Big draws.
That's a funny nickname.
He was, let me say it, man, he was a load to deal with. You know, to me, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
To me.
Take us back. You sitting in the room, table 5, guys from the 80s, your era, talking about the evolution of the game. How would that go?
Yeah, you know what? We give all eras their respect because we had to learn from somebody, right? So we learned from the guys before us. And so we always appreciate basketball and everything. We talk about it, but the one thing we will say is that it's their time. We've had our time. But I hate when they try to shit on us to prove their point.
Right.
They don't have to do that, you know, because, you know, great is great. Don't care what area you're in. But, you know, don't use past area to elevate yourself. Because we never did that to guys like, look, I'm never going to say I'm better than Wilt Chamberlain or Russell, or I was just with Oscar Robertson earlier.
We had him right. We were just sitting right there.
And you know, we appreciated you guys, you know, because we learned from y'all, you know. And so
that's how we feel about y'all.
Yeah, because we're like, anytime I get a chance to talk to guys before me, man, I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's a pleasure for me. And I've never thought that I was bigger than the game, because nobody's bigger than the game.
Right.
Because it's always one coming behind you, you know. So no one person is going to be bigger. You can be an iconic figure of the game, in which we have a lot of guys who fits that bill. But, you know, the game going to keep evolving with or without you.
And see, towards the end, Dominique was agreeing with what I said earlier. All greats and Hall of Famers, I don't diminish them, because in that era, there was dominant and great in that era. If you put them in any era, I think they would have figured it out. But y'all, let me know what you think about the 80s. Who's your favorite player from the 80s? And I don't know if I told y'all earlier, but my favorite player from the 80s would be Isaiah Thomas, aka Zeke. But let me know what you think about this video, and if you think 80s is the best era in basketball. If not, which era would you pick? Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.